very important ayah of the Quran. The first thing to notice in this ayah is that Allah Almighty has equated and brought together wife and children. Man and woman are two different creatures, as we found out yesterday, that from genetic point of view, each and every cell of man is different from that of a woman. And in the end, if you remember, I mentioned the characteristics of man and woman are different from each other. Their nature is different, their psychology is different, their chemistry is different, their behavior is different. One thing which is common between women and children, both are human beings, but both are lacking in aql. And the question is, what is aql? Aql is not intelligence. Aql, in Arabic, iqal was the rope by which the Arab Bedouin used to lock up the knee of the camel. And when he used to ride the camel, he used to tie it up at his turban, at his neck. Now the Arabs don't ride camels. They ride Cadillac, Mercedes, yet they keep their tradition of iqal, that rope which you find on the top of the head of an Arab, that is known as iqal. So aql is the faculty of man which checks his movement. Every human being has got some emotions which cause movement in him. When you lack emotions, you become sluggish, dull. But when you have emotions, you move. Emotions, sentiments, same thing. But at the same time, man has been blessed with another faculty which checks the emotions. Just like a car or a motorbike, you have an accelerator and then you have a brake. A car can only move on the road when both are perfect. If it doesn't have an accelerator, you cannot move. But if it doesn't have a brake, you cannot stop. So human movement, yesterday we found out that man is blessed with ideal composition. And that is, he is independent. He has a control on his emotions. All, man, woman, children, being human beings, have got these two phenomena. Children are more emotional, yet they don't know how to check their emotions. Gradually they grow up, and then they start checking their sentiments. They know when to weep, when to cry, and when not to. They know where to go and where not to. Man normally has got these two emotions, these two faculties side by side. He moves with emotions and he checks his emotions by aql. This checking phenomenon, a brake phenomenon, is called aql. Emotions cause movement. and aql checks the movements. You know what happens when someone is drunk? His brain phenomenon is locked. Now he cannot control his emotions. If he is angry, he will hardly see what will be the result of his expression of an anger. If he has a glass in his hand, he will just throw it on the head of the person whom he is angry with. If he is hungry, he will keep on eating. And the person who is drunk, he hardly finds that okay, it's alright. He keeps on thinking more and more. Similarly, when he has the sexual emotions, he doesn't have a check to differentiate between the sister and the wife. Because the aql is lost. So both man and woman have got both emotions and aql. But if we calculate that which is more in whom, then man as compared to woman has got a better control on his emotions. And all of you who are married, they have the experience that woman is more emotional. And sometimes you certainly feel furious that what nonsense is she doing? She has no sense. Why? Because she lacks aql. This is what Rasulullah said, addressing women, that you women, you lack aql. Not the aql, aql. That doesn't mean that they are bad. They lack the control phenomenon over the emotions. Whereas man has a stronger control phenomenon. So, both children and women, especially wives, they behave in emotions. And you are more likely to become furious on them. You would feel that, oh, is she my friend or my enemy? But on conclusion you will see, yes, she looks like an enemy. But if you divide enemy into two classes, one is the class of enemy whom you fight against. But this is another class of enemy whom you don't fight against, but you tackle them properly. And this is the tackling which Allah Almighty is telling man, the believers of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O believers, inna min azwajikum wa awladikum aduwwan lakum. Indeed, some enemies to you are there from among your wives and children. Fahdharuhum. So beware of them. Don't fight with them, but only beware of them. Your child, out of love with you, starts crying when you have to go to the office. Should you give him a blow? Why are you crying? No. You have to tackle him properly. Because if you don't go to your office, you will not get the salary of that day. If you don't get the salary of that day, who will suffer? The child itself. But he is innocent. Out of the emotions of love for you, he is crying. He is not allowing you to go to the office. But you are not supposed to give him a slap or give him a blow. But you are supposed to tackle him. Just just pick him up, hug him, have around the house, and then drop him and go to the office. So is the case of woman. Every now and then, she will behave in such a way that will make you furious. But if every time you shout at her, you beat her, your house will become a piece of hell within this life. So how to tackle? Now is the answer. So you have only to be careful that you are not dictated by them. وَإِن تَعْفُوا وَتَصْفَحُوا وَتَغْفِرُوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. But if you forbear, if you tolerate, وَتَصْفَحُوا, and overlook, turn a blind eye, وَتَغْفِرُوا, and forgive, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ, then of course Allah too is forgiving, merciful. These three words of Safa and Maghfirah almost carry the same meanings, with little difference. Af literally means to leave. Asking the Muslims to grow beard. Prophet ﷺ said, "Ifa'ul luha," leave your beard, let it grow. Taqassu shawarib, and trim the mustaches. Forbid, just tolerate. If the child is crying, don't give him a slap. If the child misbehaves, don't be harsh to him. Similarly, if the wife misbehaves, tolerate it. Forbid. Just turn a blind eye. Sometimes she wants you to fight with her. Don't get irritated by her. Just be quiet. Listen to her. She'll be quiet after some time. But if you engage with her in argument, now the arguments will become hot and you may become so much angry that you say, "I divorce you." And now the matter will be finished. So you have to bear. You have to be calm. So, and Safa, this is a piece of paper. This is one page and this is the other page. This is called one Safa, this is called the other Safa. This side cannot see this side cannot see this. That means just turn a blind eye to what they do. You have no problem. If you watch each and everything and try to correct each and everything, you cannot run the show. To keep the house intact, you have to turn a blind eye to what all they do. Overall supervision should be there, but on certain acts you have to show as if you didn't see it. And then finally, Maghfirah. Maghfirah means to cover. The helmet that the motorcyclists wear in Arabic, that is called milfar, which covers your head from head injury. So almost same meanings, but three times one and the same reality is being emphasized and re-emphasized. وَإِن تَعْفُوا وَتَصْفَحُوا وَتَغْفِرُوا. Although in Surah An-Nisa, Allah Almighty has allowed to beat women too, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given special instructions. Don't beat them in such a way that you break some of their bone. Don't cause fracture. The beating should be such that it doesn't leave any mark on their body. It should not be a slap of full hand, just 3 fingers. It should not be, she shouldn't be stabbed on the face. These are the restrictions. So it is permissible. But it should just be a total punishment. And it should not be on daily basis and many times a day. Everyone has to adjust. You know, a doctor adjusts the dose of the patient. You know, the diabetic patients and psychiatric patients, they visit their doctor, tell them the condition, and then he says, okay, now you should raise the level of insulin or reduce the level of insulin, or now you should take half of the tablet 2 times a day, 1 time tablet 3 times a day, whatever. Now with experience you will find out that your child or your wife needs a shout from you every week, once a month, once in 3 weeks. No, that you have to adjust according to the person. And inshallah, you will have no problem. But in general, your attitude should be وَإِن تَعْفُوا وَتَصْفَحُوا وَتَغْفِرُوا. And then the conclusion is فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. You know, I had a brother in America. I just phoned him. He was not at home. His wife, our sister, was there. And I told her that I'm Dr.Abdussamie speaking. When he comes back, just ask him to ring me. She said, okay. He said, brother, but can you do me a favor? I said, yes. He said, your brother shouts too much. I said, okay, I'll talk to him too. Okay, next time when I had a chance to talk to him, I said that sister was complaining that you shout at her too much. He said, actually I am a perfectionist. When the things are not in order, I become furious. My dear brothers, it is always an illusion about oneself that he is perfect. None of us, no human beings after Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam can be perfect. Only a prophet is innocent and masoom. No other than prophet can be masoom and innocent and perfect. If we look into ourselves, we are short in many areas. We lack in many areas. We are wrong at many places. When we raise our hands before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we say, رَبَّنَا ظَلَمْنَا أَنفُسَنَا وَإِن لَمْ تَغْفِرْ لَنَا وَتَرْحَمْنَا لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. But to our youngest, to our subordinates, why are we not ready to forgive them? So, we must remember that we also make mistakes. So do the others. We seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we should forgive our youngers, our juniors and our subordinates too. If you have this attitude, inshallah, your life will become very comfortable at home. You know, wives on one hand behave like this. But on the other hand, the Prophet ﷺ says, "Ad-dunya mata'un, wa khayru mata'i dunya al-mar'atu salih." Dunya is ad-dunya mata'. Mata is translated both as comfort and utility. So, ad-dunya mata, dunya, worldly life is a comfort. But the best comfort of dunya is al-mar'atu salihah, a righteous woman. But, inshallah, in the lectures to come, we'll discuss this in detail. What a righteous woman is. It's very important that it is the head of an institution which makes an institution nice or bad. You know, a school going at certain pace, showing certain results, performance. You simply change its headmaster. After 3 years, you find the school almost changed. Though building will be the same, furniture will be the same, students will be the same, and teachers will be the same. So Allah Almighty has made you head of the house. You have to have managerial quality to turn your house to a paradise. If you lack that quality, then you will turn your house to hell. As far as women are concerned, as I said, they are all emotional. You know, women, they gave tough time even to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Though they were the best women. You know, we believe our mothers, Ummahat al-Mu'mineen, they were the best of the Lord. Yet, they created some problem for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if my wife creates some problem for me, I should not be worried about it. I should just handle her properly. Inshallah, she would turn to be the best asset for me. If your wife sometimes creates problem for you, and you are able to handle the problem properly, inshallah, she would turn to be the best asset for you ever you can have in the life. And that is the meaning of the saying of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, الدنيا متاع وخير متاع الدنيا المرأة الصالحة. إنما أموالكم وأولادكم فتنة. Indeed, your possessions and your children are just a trial. You know, this life is a trial. And everything you are provided here is a trial. You find in Juz Amma, that ayah, that there is a man who says, Allah blessed me with favors. And there is another man who says, Allah put me in trouble. When Allah tests him through adversity, he cries. And the other man, Allah tests with favor. Oh, he is happy. Kalla! No way. The comfort of this world is not a favor. And adversity of this life is not a disfavor from Allah. Both are a trial from Allah. Allah puts us in trial by giving something, and sometimes He puts us to trial by taking away something. So, إِنَّمَا أَمْوَالُكُمْ وَأَوْلَادُكُمْ فِتْنَةٌ. Indeed, your possessions and your children are just a trial. وَاللَّهُ إِنَّهُ أَجْرٌ عَظِيمٌ. But Allah has with Him a great reward. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. The practical tip. What you are to do, whether you are affluent, wealthy man or a poor person, whether you are holding the highest position in your country, you are the president of the country, or you are just a laborer. In any case, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Fear Allah as much as you can. وَاسْمَعُوا وَعَطِيُوا. But do listen and obey. Listen to Allah's commands and be obedient to Him. Listen to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and obey Him. This is what you are supposed to do. What Allah gives you, take it. What Allah doesn't give you, don't be envious. Don't look for it. Your duty is fear Allah as much as you can and listen and obey. وَأَنْفِقُوا, and spend in charity. خَيْرًا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ, as it will be for your own good. وَمَنْ يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And those who are protected from the stinginess of their hearts are certainly the successful ones. In tuqridullaha qardan hasana. If you give Allah a good loan, yudha'ifu lakum. You know, giving Allah a good loan means to spend in Allah's cause. One is sadaqah. They are basically for the poor and needy people. But infaq fi sabilillah is the term of the Quran, is what you spend in Allah's cause. Maybe you are spending for jihad fi sabilillah, or anything which you spend in Allah's cause for the promotion of the cause of Islam, that is infaq fi sabilillah. And spend khayran li anfusikum, as it will be for your own good. وَمَنْ يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. إِن تُقْرِضُوا اللَّهَ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا. For the same infaq, there is another term. That is, إِن تُقْرِضُوا اللَّهَ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا. If you give Allah a good loan, يُضَاعِفْهُ لَكُمْ. Allah will multiply it for you to pay you back. وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ. And also He will forgive you. Wallahu shakurun halim. And Allah is appreciative, forbidding. Alimul ghaybi wa shahada, knowing the unseen and the seen, evident and concealed. Al-Aziz al-Hakim, Almighty, the Wise. Barakallahu wa lakum fil Quran al-Azim wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayat.